there's 7 things to do to really change a habit. The first thing is to understand it's extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. The short answer is decide what habit you want to change, set a goal, and don't quit. I mean, that's probably the fastest way to do it. If it were that easy, everybody would have perfect health, everybody would have a lot of money, and everybody would be happy all the time. So clearly, it's got to be a little bit more than that. And I think if you're listening to this podcast right now, you know that the distance between you and what you want to achieve is not very far away. It's between your right ear and your left ear. So what is it that allows people to actually change a habit to change their life? We always hear about people that like, I've lost all this weight, or I got my health back. And you also hear about people that have a lot of talent, a lot of skill, but they never seem to be able to manifest it. They never seem to make it happen. So what's the difference? Is it skill? No. Is it talent? Absolutely not. Talent is very, very overrated. So to think about this, one of my favorite authors is a fellow by the name of Steven Pressfield, and he talked about the word resistance. Resistance. Think of resistance as a force of nature. It's not something in your brain. It's just something that's always there. It's always there. So like he talks about when a tree grows up, it casts a shadow. So the shadow, as long as the sun is out, the shadow is always there. That's like as long as there's a tree, there's a shadow. As long as you have a goal, there's resistance. So the key is what is the resistance and how do you overcome it? And people say, well, I would hope that I can remove all the resistance in my life and that things will flow for me and everything. And I decide that I want to be 10 pounds lighter, or that I want to be physically fit, or I want to be rich, and it's just going to happen. Well, that's never going to happen. And the reason that's never going to happen is because of this law of nature called resistance that is always there to hold you back. Now, why? Well, think about this. If resistance is like a villain in a movie, if you don't have a villain, you have no movie. Resistance gives significance to what we do. So the fact that changing a habit is hard is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And you should look. And so to change your mindset about changing habits and persisting, that if it's difficult, that's a good thing. Why? Because it makes it important and it gives it meaning. If all you had to do is lay in bed and wish for things to happen, that would get boring pretty quickly, and we know that wouldn't work. So how do you change a habit in order to be able to change your life? All right, so let me break this down for you. Number one, what's the goal? What is it that you're trying to achieve? You want to change a habit? What is it and why? Okay, I want to lose weight. I want to make $1 million a year. I want to have the relationship in my life. I want to, whatever it is, what is it? Okay, write it down. What is it that you want? And then the second part of that, or included in that, is why. Why do you want it? And make a whole lot of reasons. Write them down. All the reasons why. Why do I want to have more money? I want to have more money so that I can have a better lifestyle, so I can take care of my kids better, so I can have some free time. Maybe I want to, and keep writing. So I tell people to write down at least 25 or 30 things. Even if you run out of things, make them up. Because you'll start saying things, I want to make $1 million to prove to myself that I can do it. That's probably even a better reason than improving your lifestyle. So why? Why do you want to do it? So set yourself, don't just say, it's the first of the year, I'm going to join a gym, I'm going to lose some weight. No. Why do you want to lose the weight? What? And be specific about that, okay? Part two, as I talked about, what's the resistance? What is the resistance? Identify the shadow. Identify what is the resistance? Some people say resistance is fear. It could be I'm afraid of what might happen, or I'm just lazy. I just don't want to work that hard. What is the resistance? It could be a lot of different things. It could be I might lose friends. If I made a lot of money, what problem could that create for me? Which, by the way, is a great thing to ask yourself. Once you set the goal, and then you say, and then what's the resistance? Then one way to find that resistance is to ask yourself this question. This is $1 million question. The question is, if I had the goal, if I had the money, if I had the relationship, what problem might that actually create for me? So think about that. People go, oh, no problem yet. Well, think about it. I've asked people many times around money, if you had the money, what problem would that create for you? And people say, well, maybe I'd lose the money, or people might take advantage of me, or I get robbed. So there's all these things that go on because in our minds, part of that resistance is because of a fear of something else that's going to happen, or an uncomfort, or something like that. And once you can identify what that resistance really is, or a couple things, you have a much better chance of overcoming it by creating new habits. Okay, so what is a resistance? Number 3, these are practical things. Get some mentorship. Get some mentorship. Get a mentor who's qualified in the area, professional in the area, and surrender. Yeah, that's right. Surrender to what they tell you to do. When it comes to fitness, one of my masters, Mac Newton, 2-time world champion in Taekwondo, and with him, I just surrender. Whatever he tells me to do, whatever he tells me to eat, whatever he tells me to drink, I do it. I don't even question it. Why? Because I know he's the best. I know he's a professional. So you surrender to mentorship. Don't try to do this on your own, okay? Number 4, they will give you a process. Follow the process. Don't try to say, well, I'm just going to go make money. No, what's the process? What are you going to have to do? Create a plan. Create a plan of some sort of how you're going to get there. Number 5, discipline. This is probably the most important one. The D word, discipline. Be disciplined. I saw a video the other day. A gentleman said, he goes, I'm the most disciplined, lazy person I know. And I like that quote because that applies to me too. I'm typically kind of a lazy person physically, but I know I can't do it. And so I'm very disciplined, and discipline is a habit. And it's a habit that you can cascade into any goal that you want. So practice discipline. What's that mean? Discipline means doing what you're supposed to be doing, when you're supposed to be doing it, whether you like it or not. I'll say it again. Discipline is doing what you're supposed to be doing, when you're supposed to be doing it, whether you like it or not. Okay? 2 more things. Find a way to measure what you're doing. Health is a very easy thing to measure on a daily, weekly basis. Don't get over enthusiastic about that, because you have good days and you have bad days. But a way to measure. You can measure sales. You can measure income. You can measure the quality of your relationships. You can measure your health. Okay, find a way to measure it. And finally, the last and probably the most important piece is continue to correct and don't quit. I'll say it again. Don't quit. In the very beginning, when we were talking about this, I said that really, if you want to change a habit, it really comes down to what is it you want, why, and don't quit going for it, okay? But there's obviously I'm giving you some other steps to do this, but don't quit. Don't quit. Because at the minimum, even if you don't achieve the goal of whatever habit you're trying to change, something good is going to happen. Even if it becomes a struggle, the ripple effect of what you're doing is going to change. That alone is going to change your life. You may not make the million, but boy, think of the people you'll meet. Think of the opportunities you'll have. Think of the energy that you'll have along the way, which may even be better than the reason you're trying to change the habit. Okay? So we all want to change habits. It all takes time, but if you follow this 7-step procedure, you'll get there really quickly. Be amazing.